tonight. More snow and a quick melt is leading to flooding in some communities. More than 1.5 feet of snow expected in northern Saskatchewan. And a man charged in connection to a quadruple homicide is granted bail.
Live from our studios in Regina, this is CTV News.
Good evening. The constant freeze and thaw cycle that we are experiencing this spring is creating chaos in some communities in a form of flooding. Today, the Saskatchewan Public Safety Agency addressed the situation. Mick Favel has more on what some Saskatchewan residents are doing to keep rising waters from damaging their homes and roads.
This year's spring snowstorms are taking a toll on the province. A fast melt is leading to high water levels in some areas. In the RM of Fish Lake, a road completely gave way.
We have about 12 roads that do have water on the roads, and then we do have a couple of roads that are closed. And so that is changing as flows come and go, and as the evenings get a little cooler.
The town of Foam Lake jumped into action to stop the movement of Milligan Creek. Earlier this week, residents worked together, filling and moving sandbags to slow the flow of water. Residents are being asked to stay away from the creek as it is a fast-moving current.
We're seeing kind of right across the province, kind of from that the northwest down to Yorkton, our areas of concern. Part on the eastern side from Hudson Bay down to Yorkton is going to be well above runoff.
Earlier this week, the RM of Meadow Lake declared a state of emergency in anticipation of potential flooding. Rising temperatures caused significant melting, shutting down roads, some which remain closed.
It's kind of stabilized for now. There is a fair bit of snow yet in the forested areas north of Meadow Lake, so that's something we're watching. But as long as the weather stays cool, that will help in making sure that water flows off the landscape.
The Saskatchewan Public Safety Agency is currently responding to support requests from the RMs of Meadow Lake, Beardy's and Ogimas's First Nation, as well as Pearceland, Foam Lake, and St. Louis. Right now, there are no concerns for drinking water contaminations.
But we have environment officers that work with local communities. We've been in touch with the communities that are, impacted, and if there are concerns with, water treatment plants or wastewater treatment plants, our environment officers work with those communities.
As for travelers, the Highway Hotline recommends checking their website before hitting the road. Mick Favel, CTV News, Regina.
Now, another spring snowstorm is hitting the province, with some areas expected to get maybe close to 50 centimeters. Now, these photos were taken in La Ronge. It was about 2 a.m. Environment Canada says the community has already seen about 22 centimeters by this morning, with more snow, of course, on the way. And those totals could reach as high as 50 centimeters. Now, it depends where you are, though. In Regina, streets are just mainly wet right now with a few white patches, but the snow isn't really sticking. Well, it's not sticking yet, and that's where we go to Sabine in our weather center. And Sabine, yes, kind of depends where you are of just what you're experiencing right now with this storm.
Yeah, and you know what, Lee? This system has been very unstable from the very beginning when we saw it developing and what was to come. We didn't know where the heaviest snowfall was going to be. And now, as I just came into the studio, it's starting to look like we're seeing more and more of the warnings that were issued for northern Saskatchewan starting to lift. And those ones were primarily for a winter storm. So snowfall totals still could reach, as we heard Lee say, up to about 50 centimeters, if not a little more than that. And there is more snow still expected to continue heading into tomorrow. And temperatures, well, that +7 that you're seeing there as our high today was actually at like 1 a.m. So over the last little bit, we did warm up to about 7 degrees. However, since then, we gradually cooled down to about hovering anywhere between 0 and +1. And we won't be seeing those temperatures, the warm-up temperatures that we saw like in the 20s. We're not seeing them anytime soon. We're going to continue to see these colder than seasonal temperatures, at least for the next few days. I will have more details, though, in your next forecast. Lee?
All right, thanks, Sabine. 2 men face murder charges following an inmate's death at the Saskatchewan Penitentiary in Prince Albert yesterday. RCMP say 26-year-old Eugene Casey and 25-year-old Britton Volk are both charged with count of second-degree murder in connection with the death of Horace Bear. Casey faces an additional count of aggravated assault along with 2 other men over an altercation that resulted in multiple inmates being injured. Court dates have not been set as the RCMP Homicides Unit continues to investigate. A group of people charged in connection to the quadruple homicide on Carry the Kettle Dakota Nation in 2025 are slowly making their way through the court system, with 1 man granted bail today. Sierra D'Souza Butts has those details.
A man accused of helping youth involved in a quadruple homicide on Carry the Kettle, Nakota Nation last year was granted bail Thursday afternoon. Exactly 1 year after the homicide occurred, 67-year-old Lauren Elvis Hodamani was arrested by Saskatchewan RCMP along with the File Hills First Nation Police Service on February 4th. He is facing 1 count of accessory after the fact to murder and was released on several conditions, including no contact with any of the victim's family members and no possession of weapons, among others. On February 4th, 2025, File Hills Police received a report of sudden deaths at a residence on Carry the Kettle, Nakota Nation. Officers responded and found the bodies of 4 people inside the home. The Saskatchewan RCMP's Major Crimes Branch took control of the investigation and later deemed the deaths of Tracy Hodamani, Sheldon Quaisance, Shauna Faye, and Terry Jack as homicides. 3 other people, 18-year-old Darius Reset, a 15-year-old male youth, and 17-year-old male youth, are each facing 4 counts of first-degree murder. The youths cannot be named under the Youth Criminal Justice Act. A month-long trial date has been set for Reset for early 2027. As for the 17-year-old, the Crown has indicated it will be seeking an adult sentence following any conviction. The second youth accused in the killings pleaded guilty to manslaughter last month. Hodamani is expected to make his next court appearance in Indian Head on May 19th. Sierra D'Souza Butts, CTV News, Regina.
Earlier this year, the Saskatchewan Health Authority announced it was taking over Brightwater Senior Living to create 139 long-term care beds. Current residents feared that would mean they would be forced to move, but as Wayne Mantika tells us, the province says that won't be the case.
Brightwater Senior Living is transitioning from a privately operated retirement community to a government-funded long-term care facility. The SHA is leasing the building to create 139 nursing home beds. Some current residents feared they might be displaced after receiving a memo from Brightwater, which stated, "We are working closely with the SHA to review each personal care home resident's individual needs and long-term care eligibility in another home. We plan to work directly with you to support a smooth and thoughtful transition to a new home." Now the province says no senior will be forced to move.
But some of the individuals, it won't be the type of care they're looking for. They'll want something a bit more active, more like the personal care home, so they will leave on their own accord. But if there is an individual that says, "This is my home and I don't want to go," then we will work with them to stay.
Some residents had raised their concerns with the NDP. The opposition welcomes the government clarification.
Well, isn't that good news for some of the seniors? Absolutely. That's excellent. I mean, we're pushing for that, but I'll believe it when I see it, and we have to see that it actually goes through fine. And then, of course, what about the other seniors that we've been talking about over the last while?
Those are the seniors being forced out of public housing apartments to make way for families. It has sparked a petition drive on change.org, calling for a stop to the eviction of seniors from their homes in Saskatchewan. That plan appears to be proceeding, with tenants being offered a move to a government seniors high-rise. Wayne Mantika, CTV News, Regina.
Well, the day after the Saskatchewan Health Authority issued an overdose alert for a batch of illicit drugs that's circulating in Regina, community-based organizations say supports for the city's most vulnerable are as important now more than ever. Donovan Mace explains.
Niwo Yotina Safe Consumption Site Manager Emil Garapi says the potency of a certain batch of drugs in the community is leading to a stark increase in overdoses.
It's definitely stronger than it normally is, but I'm not noticing anything like xylazine or any tranquilizer type drugs inside of it as well too. Just that the fentanyl is stronger.
Earlier this week, the Saskatchewan Health Authority releasing an alert saying 140 overdose-related incidents have occurred since the beginning of April. That's more than the first 2 months of the year combined, according to Regina police statistics. Now, Garapi says the increased potency also means decreased chance of survival in an emergency.
It's also going to take more doses of naloxone can to bring people back as well.
Well, I mean, proactive is not doing the drugs at all in the first place.
The government says it continues to monitor the situation, pointing to its recovery-based mental health and addictions action plan.
We have seen successes. Since that plan was introduced, Mr. Speaker, there has been a 28% decrease in overdose deaths in this province.
Carr adds the province remains on track to reach its goal of adding 500 new addiction treatment spaces by 2028, needing about 180 more beds to achieve the target. But the opposition is wondering where the plan is to address increasing overdose rates.
Their solution is we're going to make sure everyone is recovering, but yet there's people out there that are overdosing today.
As Niwo Yotina struggles to keep up with the growing demands with little increase in its resources.
With the uprising of people coming in and wanting to make sure their drugs are safe and not wanting fentanyl in their stuff because of the deaths going around, yeah, we've definitely seen a lot more people coming in.
Now, while the government hopes all people take advantage of the growing access to treatment, Karapi says the plan does little to help those who are not ready nor willing to seek help. Donovan May, CTV News, Regina.
Regina Fire Protection Services responded to an apartment fire this afternoon. It was contained to a suite on the 3rd floor of the complex on the 0 block of Cambridge Avenue. There was some water damage to other units and no one was injured. The cause of the fire is under investigation. A man from Grenfell faces several charges over an incident that ended near Fort Capel yesterday. 2 people, a man and a woman, were arrested north of Fort Capel Wednesday afternoon after reports somebody was possibly being held in a blue SUV against their will in the Grenfell area. Now, the man faces 7 total charges, including assault, forcible confinement, dangerous operation of a vehicle, and flight from police or a peace officer. The woman has since been released. RCMP do continue to investigate. Saskatchewan's Minister of Education says the province is moving its focus from rapidly expanding its childcare system to what he calls a period of stabilization after the signing of a new $10 a day childcare deal with Ottawa. The minister says federal funding has not kept up with growth, so some sustainability measures are coming in July 1st, including redirecting some funding for tuition-free early childhood education training into core operating costs for childcare facilities and defining standard hours of childcare service as 10 hours per day, allowing operators flexibility to charge for additional care if they choose. The Sask NDP says the new changes do not address many of the ongoing concerns from daycare operators who wrote an open letter to the province.
To build a system, you have to think ahead, you have to plan ahead, and you really have to engage the people you're working with to find the best results. They're on the front lines. They know exactly what they need.
There hasn't been a significant increase in the amount of funding from the federal government to make the program sustainable. So as a result, we're working to make sure that we protect the number of spaces we've created already and protect the sector that we have built.
The current 5-year $10 a day deal is effective through March 2031 and includes more than $1.5 billion in provincial and federal investment during that time. Members of QP 5430 Continuing Care Assistant Committee were at the Legislative Building today looking to get closer to an agreement with the province for an increase in hourly wage. QP says that CCAs in Saskatchewan have not received a raise in 4 years and are $3 per hour behind those in the same role across the country.
I could go next door to Alberta and get a raise overnight. The starting wage for a CCA in Alberta is $26.43, which is more than I'm earning as an 18-year CCA here.
You know, we've added additional bargaining dates. We directed SAHO and the SHA to really, over the last couple of months, really refine our, the employer priorities to make sure to try and streamline bargaining as much as possible.
QP says that they've been bargaining for an agreement the past 3 years. Now, Premier Scott Moe will be the first Saskatchewan Party candidate to be nominated for the 2028 election. Sask Party says tonight in Shelbrook the party will nominate its first 61 candidates ahead of the campaign. Even though it's 2 years away, the Premier must be acclaimed as the candidate in his home riding of Roster and Shelbrook, but that is a formality. In a statement, Moe says steady leadership and a very turbulent time is important, and he looks forward to earning another mandate from voters. Regina City Council brought forward a motion for expediting the renewal of asbestos cement water pipes. Damien Smith has the details from this week's City Council meeting.
Asbestos cement water pipes were back up for discussion at City Hall on Wednesday, reignited by a motion from Councillor Shannon Zakidniak seeking to expedite their replacement.
There's a debate about inhaling asbestos and ingesting asbestos. And when I discovered that there are close to 600 kilometers of asbestos cement water mains in Regina and that they're deteriorating, they're breaking, the asbestos is getting into the water, that poses a concern.
Branch says a National Research Council report from 2007 found areas like Whitmore Park and Hillsdale had the most asbestos cement water breaks in Regina. According to city administration, there were 143 water main breaks in 2025. A water main break repair costs in between $10,000 and $15,000. The mayor says Wednesday was about comparing the breakage rates of pipes versus the cost to replace those pipes.
What would be the difference if we were to invest the money from the breakage into investing in new pipes, and would that change, kind of change that outcome? I think we do a lot of that work today, but given our focus on infrastructure, I think it's not a bad idea to put that to the forefront so everybody can see it in the public as well.
According to Health Canada's draft guidance published earlier this year, the majority of these pipes were installed between the 1940s and 1970s. Their breakdown can lead to the release of fibers, but Health Canada maintains there is no consistent, convincing evidence that oral exposure to asbestos causes adverse effects in humans and animals.
If Health Canada were to come and say, yeah, we've learned some new information on this, then absolutely, I'm confident that as a city we would be taking that information and layering that onto our infrastructure plans.
Council voted unanimously to direct administration to report back later this year with the implications of speeding up the timeline for the renewal of asbestos cement water pipes and to research funding options to help cut costs. Damian Smith, CTV News, Regina.
Still ahead, U.S. officials continue to lament trade irritants with Canada. And Manitoba is also dealing with flooding concerns from a quick melt. The United States says it's looking at new sectors to protect as U.S. officials revive talk of Canadian trade irritants. The Prime Minister responded today saying he's ready to go into detailed negotiations or wait if that's what's going to happen. Michael Couture has more.
As this Ottawa pub gets ready for a busy night of playoff hockey, the shutout of U.S. spirits has led to a run on Canadian alcohol.
We really get asked more about Niagara wines versus the Californias, and we get asked about the Canadian options for spirits as well.
The decline in American booze sales is likely why U.S. trade officials continue to bring it up as an irritant.
There may have to be an enforcement action to deal with this issue on wine and spirits in Canada.
When pressed about that today, the Prime Minister pushed back.
You know what's an irritant? 50% tariff on steel, 50% tariff on aluminum, 25% tariff on automobiles, all the tariffs on forest products. Those are more than irritant.
Appearing on CNN, Premier Doug Ford made no apologies for Ontario not stocking U.S. alcohol and Ontarians not vacationing in the U.S.
It's unfortunate that Canadians are boycotting spending tens of billions of dollars in the U.S. This can come to a quick end. Everyone can thrive and prosper.
While criticizing the Carney government for making concessions and not getting any in return, the Conservatives say it's time to hold firm.
I don't think we should squander any more leverage after learning from Mr. Carney's mistakes.
Poilievre believes the focus should be on the 2.6 million Canadian jobs affected by the trade war. The Prime Minister agrees, adding negotiation over American alcohol is a two-way street.
We can make progress very quickly on that, with progress in other areas.
Carney added Canada is ready to wait for those talks if that's what has to happen, using an increasingly defiant tone as the CUSMA deadline approaches. Michael Couture, CTV News, Ottawa.
Well, next door, communities in Manitoba's Interlake region continues to monitor an ever-changing situation as water levels could continue to rise in the coming days. Alex Carpa shows us how some communities are preparing for severe flooding.
So this is the river here, how far it's risen.
Water levels along the Icelandic River in Arborg, Manitoba have climbed steadily over the past few days, raising concerns for nearby homes.
In 2022, it was probably another 1.5 feet higher, so we're hoping it doesn't get to that point.
It's put the community north of Winnipeg on alert and scrambling to make thousands of sandbags.
The concerns are if it does go up another foot or so, there will be houses that will be impacted.
Crews in Arborg also worked overnight Wednesday to break up ice jams along the river. In nearby Riverton, similar scenes as crews carved out a path to keep water moving.
From what we see forecasted, yes, there's a good potential that more water can come. Now, nobody wants to let their guard down.
Across the Interlake region, overland flooding has shut down several roads. In Peguis First Nation, floodwaters have already begun overtaking roads. The community is under a state of emergency, bracing for conditions similar to 2022, when roughly 2,000 residents were forced from their homes. Officials say preparation is critical as the situation evolves.
If you have some issues, if you got friends, family that can help, by all means, come and do it. You know, it's better to be prepared rather than to have it come upon you too suddenly.
For communities like Arborg and Peguis First Nation, it's a wait-and-see type of situation as water levels could rise over the next few days. Alex Karpus, CTV News, Arborg, Manitoba.
Lebanon and Israel are set to begin a second session of direct talks in Washington with the aim of extending a truce between Israel and the Iran-backed militant group Hezbollah. That ceasefire is set to expire on Sunday. Both Lebanon and Israel's ambassadors to the U.S. are supposed to attend the meeting. The talks come after deadly Israeli strikes in southern Lebanon on Wednesday. The strikes killed a Lebanese journalist and 4 other people, making it the deadliest day since the 10-day ceasefire was announced last week. And Meta is rolling out a new tool to help parents keep tabs on how their kids are interacting with the company's artificial intelligence. The company says parents who are supervising teen accounts in Canada, the U.S., Australia, the United Kingdom, and Brazil can now see the topics their teens have asked Meta AI about in the last week. The tool will be available globally in the coming weeks. They're also providing conversation starters from experts to help parents talk with their children about their experience with AI. Coming up, why Hospitality Saskatchewan is lobbying the province to reduce the age of people who can serve alcohol.
Western Hockey League semifinals set to begin tomorrow night. Friday on your morning, we are checking in with the well-rested Prince Albert Raiders, Saskatchewan's last title hope as they face the Medicine Hat Tigers.
Welcome back. We're going to take a look at what's to come when it comes to the snow, especially over the next day or two. As of right now, it looks like Regina has gotten a break from the snow. Earlier today, when we were looking outside the Skycam, it looked like a blizzard. We had the high wind gusts, which have since calmed as well, and a lot of that snow, which mostly was wet snow. We're still seeing some flurries, but I think heading into tonight and into tomorrow, we will still see more snow. I'll show you how much we can expect coming up, but Saskatoon's turn is coming as well as we head into tomorrow. 1 degree is what we're sitting at, and that's basically what we hovered between 1 plus 1 and 0 is basically what we hovered between for most of the day for our high. And again, the current winds are sitting at just under 50 kilometers an hour. Wind gusts have died down. However, we did have some very strong wind gusts throughout most of today, gusting up to about 80, just over 80 kilometers an hour. Now, I mentioned that the warnings had lifted, but I don't know why my map wasn't showing them earlier. However, we are still seeing orange and yellow level winter storm warnings in northern Saskatchewan and snowfall warnings, yellow level snowfall warnings in many parts of northern Saskatchewan as well. And all of the warnings that we had in central and southern Saskatchewan, including just literally about an hour ago, we had wind warnings still issued for the southeast. Those have all lifted. So the warnings have lifted for central southern Saskatchewan. We were seeing a blanket of warnings yesterday heading into today, but the snow is expected to continue. Now, this system is just going to continue rotating over Saskatchewan as I get out of the way and show you what's to come. This is us heading into the evening. So most of southern Saskatchewan in the clear when it comes to snow. Swift Current, Maple Creek, however, is going to start to see more of that snow arriving as we see this system continue to rotate. First thing in the morning, heaviest snowfall still expected in northern Saskatchewan, Prince Albert, Saskatoon starting to see that snow. Wynyard still expecting to see some snow. And rest of southern Saskatchewan, like I said, Swift Current, Maple Creek could start to see more of that moderate snowfall. But for south central and southeastern Saskatchewan, it'll be more like flurries and light snowfall throughout the day. That is expected throughout the day. The snow doesn't look like it's going to start to clear out until we get into Saturday morning when we really start to see much of that system breaking up. However, we'll still see some scattered flurries throughout the day, continuing into Saturday evening and even parts of Sunday around the Swift Current area there. So what are we looking for snowfall totals between now and tomorrow morning? Again, you can see the bulk of that snowfall in northern Saskatchewan. We're still seeing trace amounts in southern Saskatchewan. A little more, though, Swift Current, Maple Creek, 3 to 4 centimeters there. Saskatoon also expecting up to about 4 centimeters. But as we get into Saturday morning, we get into the double digits for the southwest, up to 8 centimeters for Regina. Saskatoon close to 20 centimeters of snow. And you can see further in northern Saskatchewan, over 20 centimeters of snow still expected for Prince Albert, La Ronge, Meadow Lake, and even Buffalo Narrows close to 20 centimeters. Continuing to Sunday, that system still has some snow left to bring through the northern part of the province. And again, the southwest still expecting to get up into about 11, 12 centimeters of snow, whereas we'll continue to see about 8 centimeters for Regina. Saskatoon up to 25 centimeters of snow. So if anyone had any road trips planned, perhaps driving up into Saskatoon, make sure you're still keeping an eye on the highway hotline. Temperatures continuing to be below zero for daytime highs tomorrow. Though the winds have calmed, we're still expecting to see them pretty high, especially for tomorrow in some parts, gusting up to about 50 kilometers an hour. Temperatures for the southwest tomorrow, -3 for Maple Creek, -5 for Swift Current, and -3 for Moose Jaw. Similar temperatures, a little warmer for Weyburn, Estevan there. Estevan above zero now. 1 degree for Estevan, -1 for Weyburn. For Regina tomorrow, warming up to -2, but you can see still expecting some light snowfall and winds up to 50 kilometers an hour. So real quick, I'll get through our 7-day forecast here. -2 in snow tomorrow. The snow is supposed to completely clear as we head into Saturday evening. -1, and then we just see that gradual warm up by the time we get into midweek next week. 5 degrees. So unfortunately, there's no 20-degree days in the forecast anytime soon. Double digits expected to return by the time we start May, which is after next week.
All right, traveling north, be careful. What if you're going west, like to Calgary?
Yeah, I would still be mindful. Make sure you're checking the highway hotline. But as long as you got your winter tires on, you should be okay.
Okay. Thanks, Sabine.
You bet.
Not today, but soon you'll be able to sit on a patio, enjoy a beer or cocktail. And by law, the server who gave you that alcoholic beverage must be 19 years of age or older. But as Keen Sorcon tells us, a group is looking to tweak those regulations to help a long-standing labor shortage.
Hospitality Saskatchewan is lobbying the province to allow anyone 14 and older in the service industry to deliver alcoholic beverages to tables.
We need to look at almost every opportunity to employ somebody and have them work in our establishments.
The Tourism Association says the sector is facing an acute labor shortage, with many establishments looking for any efficiencies they can find right now.
The available labor pool across Canada has really seen a shift. And in provinces that are smaller, 1.5 million or less, we're really the canaries in the coal mine.
The latest from Stats Canada shows the unemployment rate for 15 to 24-year-olds rose to 14.1% in February, making it more than double the national average of 6.7%. Dan Beavis is used to employing young people working in the service industry for the first time. He says this isn't a change that was on his radar, but knows other bar owners struggling to hire staff who would welcome having additional staff to run drinks to tables.
If you have to follow the liquor laws regardless, then what difference does it make if the person's 18 years old or 19 years old? Neither one's allowed to drink it while they're working, so it doesn't really bother me.
Currently in Saskatchewan, anyone under 19 is considered a minor, and liquor laws don't allow minors to bring alcoholic beverages to a customer's table or clean tables if an unfinished drink is left behind. But Ben says in smaller centers or rural areas where there might only be one staff member 19 or older, they could use the help.
It really would give them a big leg up in just being able to service the customers that they have.
Discussions are just getting started with the SLGA and Labor Relations and Workplace Safety. The province says before any decision could be made, it would need to consult with and balance the concerns of stakeholders. However, at this time, no legislative changes are being considered. Keenan Sora Khan, CTV News, Saskatoon.
Still ahead after a decade wearing the green and white, Saskatoon's Jurgen Hoos is calling it a career. Regina Pack Canadians suffered their first loss at the TELUS Cup in Peterborough, Ontario today.
Young at the line, Doka, Schultz, shooting, scores!
Maddox Schultz had a goal and 3 assists as the Pack Canadians lost in overtime to the Chevaliers de Lévis, the program that Regina beat in the final last year. This one, quite the penalty-filled affair with the teams combining for 58 minutes in the box, 42 of those called against Regina. So either they're undisciplined or other reasons. Regina will finish their round robin tomorrow versus Okanagan, then play Saturday in the semifinals. It's not the longest SJHL championship drought since joining the league in 1970. The Melville Millionaires actually have the longest because they have yet to claim a title. But Flin Flon Bomber fans have waited a while, more than 30 years. But that could all end tonight. The Bombers are up 3-0 in the Canal to Seeds Cup final after a win last night in Yorkton.
Right side, Arbery, back up top, Knudsen skates it in, there's a shot, doesn't make it on, rebound comes out, another chance, this one dribbles through and the Bombers score.
Connor Miller, a goal and 2 assists as the Bombers doubled up the Terriers 6-3 at the Westland Arena. Gabriel Corshane, a pair of points and a loss for Yorkton. Game 4 is mentioned tonight, 7 o'clock. You can watch the game on SaskTel Max TV if you got it. Meanwhile, tomorrow night, the WHL Conference Finals gets underway with the Prince Albert Raiders taking on the Medicine Hat Tigers in the WHL playoffs. And Prince Albert, they're quite invested in this one. The two teams split their regular season meetings. The first 2 games of the series are at home for the Raiders, and tickets to both games were pretty quick to sell out. As momentum builds for the Raiders, the 50-50 pot, it's been growing too, with the Raiders business manager Mike Sisgen saying the lucky winner walked away with $100,000 from the last 50-50 they did.
Around 3/4 of the sales are online, and they're from anywhere in Saskatchewan. We've covered hundreds of towns and communities that have bought all the way from the U.S. border all the way up to the top of Saskatchewan.
By the way, both teams have identical 8-1 records this postseason, winning in 5 games in the first round and then completing the sweep in the second round. After a 10-year career with the Saskatchewan Roughriders and a couple of years bouncing around the NFL, Saskatoon product Jurgen Hoos is hanging up the helmet.
I started thinking about it 2 years ago, but I knew we had unfinished business here. I loved what Coach Mace has done here with this team and the culture and everything, and I knew we had a really good chance at winning, and so it wasn't too hard to want to come back last year. But, during last season, I knew that it was probably going to be my last year.
Now, Hoos completed his amateur football playing with the Saskatoon Hilltops and the U of R Rams. Selected by Edmonton in the 4th round of the 2013 CFL draft, he went south for the next 2 years, competing for an NFL job. In 2015, the Riders traded for his rights, and Hoos came home, becoming the team's long snapper. He replaced Chad Rempel. And then he capped off his career in style, of course, winning that Grey Cup last November and named the Jake Goddard Veterans Award winner.
Started playing this game 24 years ago, with my brother in the backyard and on the street, just, running routes and all that. And fast forward 23 years, and here we are leaving the game as a Grey Cup champion. It's pretty wild. And then, of course, most importantly, my family. Kenzie's just been such a huge support, and wouldn't be able to do this without you. Played the majority of my career with you, and just appreciate everything that you've done in allowing me to come live my dream.
The Riders signed Aaron Crawford earlier this year to replace him as a long snapper. And the city of Regina will play host to the 2028 Can-Am Police Fire Games. It is a biannual event that brings together members of law enforcement, fire departments, EMS, and corrections from all across North America. Organizers hoping to see about 1,000 athletes for the week-long multi-sport event. Many of the sports have a close link to the work that they do, including pistol shooting, powerlifting, and running. But the Can-Am Federation allows host cities to add their own sports to the event as well.
But they encourage us to choose sports that really highlight and showcase our city. So it could be popular sports, flag football, huge in our community. We also have disc golf. A lot of people don't know that disc golf actually originated here in Saskatchewan. So what a great way for us to show off Saskatchewan and the uniqueness here.
Disc golf for Frolf. The event will take place in August 2028. Still ahead, the provincial ombudsman addresses support payments for wildfire evacuees.
All right, welcome back. We're going to take a look at the rural forecast for tomorrow. And as you can see behind me, temperatures still sitting at below zero for most places. Areas like Hudson Bay sitting at 0 for a daytime high. But snowfall is what the story will be tomorrow, along with those colder than average temperatures. So nothing but snow across rural Saskatchewan tomorrow. -4 for Wynyard and Watrous and Melfort. 0, as I mentioned, for Hudson Bay. Outlook also at -4. -7 for Spiritwood and Meadow Lake, Lloydminster and Kindersley -6. Closer to the southern border, still expecting snowfall, but this will be lighter snowfall than what we will see at other parts of the province. Temperatures, though, still colder than seasonal. The southeast will see a little bit of sunshine, a mix of sun and cloud for Carlisle, 0, -2 for Coronach. And then over in Maple Creek, -3 with snow, -6 for East End Cypress, -4 for Rosetown, Leader, Assiniboia, Rockland. And a little warmer for Lumsden, Pilot Butte, -2, and -2 for Kenora and Broadview with cloudier conditions. If we take a closer look at Bruno, where internet speeds up to 1 gig are available through SaskTel, Bruno will see snowfall throughout most of the day tomorrow. Up to about 10 centimeters is expected. -5 is the expected daytime high with a wind chill of -11. Into the evening, another 1 to 3 centimeters of snow expected with a low of -6 and a wind chill of -12. The 2025 Saskatchewan Ombudsman report is out. Last year's wildfire response around the province is a major talking point. Jacob Carr has those details.
The 2025 wildfires in the province and the response from the Saskatchewan Public Safety Agency featured prominently in the latest Ombudsman report. Last year, the Ombudsman office opened nearly 400 files regarding the wildfire response. And according to the provincial NDP, the voices of those affected are not being heard.
You know, the reason why the report is important is because the people of northern Saskatchewan deserve answers from this government. They deserve to know that they've heard them. We've done our work on this side of opposition to bring those voices to this legislature.
According to McPhail, there are still displaced victims of the Denair Beach wildfires that are living in hotels in Saskatoon. But the provincial government says steps have been taken to provide financial supports to those who have been displaced by the northern fires.
They're working on making sure that process is faster, and also there's a part that they've adapted what they've been doing to ensure there's a better response to the community, to have individuals right in the community affected by an evacuation.
Uyghur says the SPSA is working on a process that will assist with a direct deposit of funds to those in need of aid due to the wildfires. Another topic of discussion from the report, social services. That sector led the number of in-jurisdiction requests for assistance in 2025 with nearly 750, including instances of end-of-life and life-sustaining medical care. Despite that, the Ministry of Social Services said the report indicates a nearly 5% decrease in the number of requests related to the ministry compared to 2024. And 30 full-time positions have been added to income assistance since 2023. The ministry says it looks forward to continuing to work towards solutions and client service with the Ombudsman. Jacob Carr, CTV News, Regina.
Saskatchewan NDP searching for answers regarding the AI data center just outside of Regina. The opposition held an open house yesterday to address public concerns about transparency in the approval process for a proposed AI data center in the RM of Sherwood. Now, an online petition opposing this project has surpassed 12,000 signatures. The project could generate $12 billion in economic activity. But the NDP says many of its questions to the province still remain unanswered.
When you don't have those processes, you don't have community engagement, you don't have information available, a vacuum is created, and that is inevitably filled with concerns and questions.
Construction on a new AI data center scheduled to start this spring. Let's take a look at those farm market boards. Canola first, the street price up 10 cents to $675.23 per ton, while the futures price is up $4.90 to $725.40 per ton. Amber durum wheat stays the same, $278.59 per ton, while red spring wheat's up $3.44 to $291.70 per ton. Feed barley, nothing. Flax, nothing. And then magically they appear. Magic. Feed barley, $250.88. Flax, $630.54 per ton. Don't worry, you're not selling it for free, everyone. Stock markets. The TSX down 42 points. The Dow Jones down by 179 points. As for the Canadian dollar, it went down a little more than 1/10 cent to 73.02 cents US. On the commodity front, gold down $45.76. West Texas Intermediate crude up $3.86. Western Canadian Select crude up $2.27. And gas in Regina commonly found for $1.58.9 cents per liter.
Customers will pay an extra $5 for a checked bag. And that's only if travelers plan in advance. It takes the price to between $55 and $65. And if you decide to check a bag at the airport, it'll cost between $70 and $94 under the ultra basic ticket. Airlines around the world are grappling with high fuel costs as a result of the backup of tankers in the Strait of Hormuz. Cannabis stocks jumped on news that the U.S. is reclassifying the drug as less dangerous. It will put it into the same category as a drug like Tylenol with codeine. But the stocks retreated in the afternoon when investors realized the move only applies to medical marijuana already licensed by the states. Lululemon stock has been dropping since the company announced a new CEO. Former Nike executive Heidi O'Neill will take charge in September. She has a steep climb ahead of her. Lulu has been struggling to regain market share after some design misses and more competition in the space. The stock ended the day down over 13% in the U.S. Those are your business headlines. I'm Marilla Fernandez.
Coming up tonight, Next Level Chef, brought to you by The Rookie. And we don't have Big Bang Theory, but we do have a trifecta of Georgie and Mandy's first marriage.
One's not enough.
That's why it's first marriage, I guess. Okay, so forget about watching Chief Brody, Matt Hoopa, and Quint trying to catch a great white shark in the movie Jaws. I love that movie. Why not experience the real thing, Sabine?
There he is. Put the tape out. Put the tape.
While on vacation in Florida, Donovan Smith and his dad Judd were surprised to find this shark at the end of their line. Donovan fought to reel it in until he ran out of gas, and then his dad gave it a go. Once they got it, they released it. It's an incredible experience for them, but the captain of the boat says since 2003, he's caught 6 great white sharks. No thank you.
It's a smaller great white shark, too.
All I would have is the Jaws music in my head.
His eyes, like a doll's eyes.
Okay, well, in all the years, let's talk baseball.
Why not?
In all the years of baseball, with the billions of pitches and perhaps billions of hits, we are not sure if this has ever happened before.
And right back to the pitcher, Gilbert able to catch it. Wow.
Well, it caught him, if we're being honest. He hit that ball.
Where is it? Well, Mariners pitcher Logan Gilbert makes the catch. It runs into his jersey. And that line drive was 108 miles an hour. Fortunately for him, it didn't hit him, but it's not a catch. It's technically not a catch. And the batter gets to go to first base because it's not in his glove.
How does that even...
Uniform.
And he wasn't hurt.
No. But it probably felt really weird that all of a sudden his jersey, this thing pulled hard on his jersey.
He probably would have thought it was like one of his teammates or something.
Yeah. One of his teammates while he's pitching was on the mound.